Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, depending on when you're watching this. Hi, this is Devon, and I'm bringing to you another presentation. This is based on Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21, that there is life and death in the power of the tongue. And that is very relative today when we see such an intense discourse. I know once that I think I was on the internet, and I was looking at a video, and I was reading some of the comments below, and I seen where someone had said, I hope you catch cancer and die. That's something. That's amazing. Now, with the advent of the internet, this allows a lot of people to become anonymous. They may use another name so that they can be on the keyboard and say all kinds of ridiculous things. Some people intentionally go on there just to troll. But when we look back and look at that statement, someone said, I hope you catch cancer and die. That's pretty profound. And out of this mouth, out of our mouths, we can speak blessings and cursings. Absolutely. Um, so when we're talking about speaking life, we're talking about saying things that help invoke prosperity, you could say. We're speaking life over our life for happiness. We're saying something with the hope that, yes, I want to extend and see a bounty in my life. I want to see abundance in my life. I want to see health, prosperity. I want to see friendship, fellowship. Yes, life will at times bring adversity to us, and it will do things to challenge our resolve and challenge our desire. And that's why we have God we can lean on, and God can open doors. He can fight battles for us and do things. But even still, we have to still do the footwork here on earth, right? As the heavens bless us. And see, so that leads me into asking, when it talks about blessings and cursings can proceed out, what does it mean? The definition of the word bless. Well, we use that terminology quite a bit, and it's not just a religious term, I would say. One definition that I read, it said that it is a way to invoke. What did it say? Yeah, I was reading this. Excuse me, I was reading this earlier, and it's to ask for God to look favorably upon you, or to invoke some type of statement that says, "I hope that favor comes upon you." You know, to bestow favor, to bless, to give, to offer something that is obviously good, right? And when I looked up the word curse, and I'm not talking about the kind of curse where someone curses you out or cusses you out because you turned in front of them or you said or did something that made them angry. We're not talking about that. So when I looked up this particular definition of the word curse, it is to invoke, in one definition, supernatural power or supernatural forces in order to bring harm or hurt to something or something or someone. Okay, and as the most one recent definition I can say in recent times, well, not so recent, but if you say, well, how can that be true? You can look at the words. Well, I'll give you one example. I was hearing a man talk about that he was at a nightclub once, and people were socializing, partying, having a good time. You know, maybe it was a Friday night, and people were glad to be off work or whatever. Everything was fine. There was a live band they were playing. I think he said he was one of the musicians, and at some point through the course of the night, there was an exchange of words at the front door, and within a matter of moments, the gunfire shot. Everyone dropped their instruments, hit the ground, and sought safety. So you can see the atmosphere was festive. People were partying, dancing, live music, wasn't a care in the world. And just in a matter of moments, there were words that were spoken that changed that atmosphere between two people and affected everyone else. So you could certainly say that those words there were critical, and that's it caused a lot of people's lives to become in jeopardy. And that's going back, I would say, going back a little bit farther in years, to see that the words of Adolf Hitler, I guess the reaping of those words or the consequence of those words, it's all written throughout history, and people like him that wanted to pretty much annihilate a whole segment, a particular segment of the population of individuals, Jews, that just by his words, and persistence and trying to persuade and convince people. So look at how that turned out. I remember recently reading, or some time ago, I read a book by Les Brown. Les Brown is is a very successful author and motivational speaker. I love listening to him talk, and other people I listen to as well. But at somewhere, from what I read in the book, I think the book is called Live Your Dreams. Plus, I've heard him speak on this, that at age 5 or so, he was labeled educable mentally retarded. That's a word we really don't really hear today. Maybe they may maybe you may hear special needs, or this person has their ability to understand basic concepts of writing, reading, arithmetic, or they're delayed learning, something like that. But that kind of label on someone that young, then plus he was held back a year in school, I don't know when, or at what grade. So you have this label on you that says there's something wrong with you, or you're less than. Then you are held back a grade. So this afflicted and bothered him for a while. Somewhere in his schooling, he came across a teacher by the name of Mr. Washington. This will demonstrate how effective words are, whether you're young or old, when you say them to someone, and when you are consistent with it. And if a person's mind is ripe to receive and ready to go outside of that label that they could be on. Mr. Washington had said something to Les Brown when he was younger that seemed to challenge the notion of him being labeled mentally retarded. And he did not allow him to utter those words. He challenged him to say, who told you that? Why are you going to listen to what someone else has said to you? Their description of you does not have to be your reality. So that could be relative today, in terms of what someone has said to you, what someone's been saying to you, and more importantly, what we are saying to ourselves. Am I speaking life over my life? Am I projecting into the future and saying that even though my situation may not be exactly the way I want it now, but can I visualize and see myself living or obtaining or endeavoring to change the course of my life? So as a result, I guess, of just one conversation with someone, and of course he had a very loving and supportive mother. He says he was adopted, him and his brother. But this particular teacher and seemed to say something that penetrated his consciousness and allowed him to break that mold of being labeled mentally retarded. And look at, he was a legislator, an author. He's traveled around the world, very successful. So it's important for us maybe to sometimes to challenge the notion when someone says we are less than, or we seem to fall short in our thinking about what we can be in life. You understand? So there was a story of a man that had applied for a job, and he was told after about a week or so, they contacted him, this potential employer, and told him where to show up in order to be interviewed. They were interested in talking with him and interviewing him. And well, he showed up after about a week or so. They contacted him after about a week or so of him putting in an application. He showed up. It was a building, and he was at the ground level, gave his name. He was told what floor to go to. There was a big corporation, and I think he had to go on the 19th floor or something like that. Anyways, he got on the elevator. There were a few people on there. He spoke. There was one of the floors as he was going up, people getting off, getting on. There was a lady that walked in, and he said, "Hi, how are you?" And she said, "Fine, how are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm doing pretty good. As I have a job interview today." She said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Well, good luck. Good luck. I hope you get the job." He said, "Well, I'm not really sure." He said, I'm not sure if I want to stay for that long, or if this job is really right for me. I think I'm really almost thinking about just seeing what it's going to be like. And if it's not right after 6 months, I think I'm going to leave." She said, "Oh, well, you never know. It might be something you might really like." She said, "Okay, well, you could be right." He said, "Have a good day." She said, "You too." So she got off the elevator, and he went on up to the floor he was supposed to be on. He walked up to the receptionist and gave his name. She said, "Oh yeah, sure. They're expecting you. Have a seat, and someone will be with you in a minute." And after about 2 or 3 minutes, she called him back up and said, "Okay, what you need to do, sir, is just go down this hallway here and make a right. The interview room is right at the first door on your right." So he started walking, and he went to the interview room, and he knocked on the door, and someone said, "Come in." He opened the door, and to his surprise, and to the surprise of the interviewer, guess who it was that he seen? It was the lady that he saw in the elevator that he told he wasn't sure if he wanted to work for this company, and that he may just work there for a while, then quit. So, to his surprise, he very sheepishly put his hand out. "Oh, hi, how are you?" And he looked kind of down on the floor a little bit. And she said, "Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you doing? Have a seat." So, you can only imagine how awkward that interview went, and if he even really got the job at that point. There's another passage that says, "A fool uttereth all his mind, or her mind, but a wise man keepeth it in till afterwards." So sometimes we could say something, and once it's out, he couldn't take those words back, right? All he could do is say, "You know what, by the way, when I was on the elevator, I was just kind of kidding around. I didn't really mean that." She could say, "Oh, sure, sure, okay, fine." We can try to edit or maybe change, but once the words are out, as they say, the horse is out of the barn now. It's already out. You have to go and catch it. So, or the genie's out of the bottle. So it's very important to think about, what am I speaking over my life, and what am I speaking over the lives of others, and that the significance of that our words can matter to other people. You can see it matter to Les Brown and what this did to him in terms of what he thought of himself and how he was labeled by the education system that he was under at that time. And I think that it's something for us to consider. And I just wanted to just share that with you, and perhaps I'll move on and get some other things in terms of this particular topic. Okay, thanks for checking out my video, and you have a good day. All right, goodbye.